on the Saturday, Jesus rested in the tomb, just as God rested on the Sabbath when he created the heavens and the earth. Like Jesus' birth was hurried and was put in a makeshift manger in a borrowed room, Jesus lay in that borrowed tomb. His body having been acquired by Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus, two Pharisees who were secretly following him. And they managed to get his body from Pontius Pilate, which was a miracle in itself because crucifixion victims were usually just left to rot, not given the luxury of a grave. And who else rested in the Sabbath? Was it the Pharisees who demanded that Jesus was crucified, knowing full well that he wouldn't get a Jewish burial, knowing full well that Roman tradition was not to give crucifixion victims, a burial, because it meant that their souls would just walk the earth forever? Were the disciples resting on the Sabbath, or were they restless, having just seen Jesus crucified, suffering on that cross, dying in the most cruel way, basically fulfilling what Jesus said earlier when he says, when the shepherd was struck, the sheep will be scattered. They were scattered into hiding, fearful and full of grief. Were they resting? Was Pontius Pilate resting, wondering whether if this unrest in Israel was being quelled, with the death of Jesus? Were Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea, were they at rest, knowing that they took that courage to step out from hiding, really, their faith, to doing something that other people couldn't have done, which was getting Jesus' body? What was the risk? What was the risks they were taking? Knowing that they were Pharisees and knowing what their colleagues, so to speak, did to Jesus. The risks in their community, they were pillars of the community, and they stepped out in courage, being public with their faith. And during that Sabbath, while God was resting, heaven would be silent. Heaven just waiting, God knowing what's going to happen. Just that anticipation, the hope of what was to come. But heaven remained silent in that time while Jesus rested in the tomb.